Let me welcome you all to the Thursday edition of our co-founder training. It is Thursday, May 29th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do this co-founder training twice a week live with yours truly, the founder, creator of Pull Funding, coming to you live to help guide you through what I've created. And you're all invited to become co-founders with me so that we can launch into the world something very special. Okay. Now, think about this for a minute. If you look at what our current offers are, we start with like a 777 giveaway. That's a great offer. How many of you guys think that's a great offer? Tell me, just unmute and tell me if you think it's great or not.
I do.
Awesome.
It's
It's awesome.
That's right.
Yes.
It's
Awesome.
working really well.
And
Yeah,
for
very unique.
and for a small cost of only one referral, a person can enter into our second giveaway, which is $3,000 a month giveaway, which goes month after month after month after month for a while, right? How many think that's a great offer?
Yeah, just
Great.
I do.
Yeah, me.
Okay. So it's a wonderful offer too. And so, both of these offers have more to do with wealth creation than cash flow, but they are great offers all the same. And it's important that we recognize that we have something special to offer to humanity, and we want to get it out to as much of humanity as possible in the shortest period of time possible. So, look, human beings and the behavior of human beings generally bounces between two factors. Okay. Let me repeat myself one more time. Human beings, the behavior of human beings generally bounces between two factors: pain and pleasure. Okay. So every human being likes to experience pleasure. Okay. Very few human beings like to experience pain. Okay. And most will behave to avoid pain and to gravitate towards having more pleasure. Okay, does that make sense to all of you? How the behavior of the human being? Okay,
Yes.
all right. So a good system where you're trying to get a group of people to go and do certain things. Okay, a good system is going to focus not just on one factor but both. Am I right?
Right.
So, it's almost like that bowling alley, right? If you look at that bowling alley, you got the gutters, right? They're on either side, right? And the ball can end up in one or the other gutter, you know what I'm saying? But you have a lane to operate in. And believe it or not, spiritually, it's also true. We were all given a lane when we got here, when we were born with a lane, so we end up using our free will inside that lane. Anyway, there's a purpose to all of our lives, by the way. Now, anyway, so pain and pleasure. And so we're going to talk about that. I've already mentioned the fact that, what we have is a great offer. So the offer falls on the category of pleasure. Okay. But in addition to that, we have additional offers besides the 777 giveaway and the $3,000 a month giveaway. Those are wonderful offers, but we have additional offers. We have an offer for you to become a co-founder. Okay, that's an offer that a person can really enjoy the perks of becoming your co-founder. Okay, we also have an offer which I would consider above that, and that is the offer to become a whale. Okay, and just so I make it clear to all of you what I think about whales, the ones the biggest holders of our coins in Pull Funding, it is my intent, if something should ever happen to me, that the committee would come through the wells, okay, and then if we all have an expiration date, right? So hopefully mine's not for many decades to come, but if something happens sooner than later, it'll be the wells that will be working with the attorney that will be set up so that the transfer of my role will go onto the shoulders of that group. So it won't just be one person, taking it from there. It'd be the group of wells. Right now, well, I've identified about 103 wells so far. that number can shrink. Not likely to go up. It could, but it's not likely to it's not likely to go up, but it's likely to shrink. So that number could actually tighten up closer to 70, something like that. I figure by the time we get down to who's really serious about becoming a well and who's not, that the wells will be wells in multiple coins, not just one. And they really tighten down, and they realize that the value of being a well, it's got a value for the next 20 years, estimated value about $100 million. So another point of pleasure, right? So we're stacked with all sorts of pleasure points, including the fact that you're getting 100% commission on the USDT side of things. So we get paid in USDT, right, guys? We don't get paid in pool funding coins. We get paid for what we do in USDT coins. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. And so whenever payment happens, you get 100% of that. Now, up until for a little bit longer, right now, if there's ever a payment going to somewhere else, it's going to the guarantee right now. When a sponsor is inactive, okay, it only takes 1 day to become inactive. It only takes 1 day to get active, right? So each sponsor out there should remain active by making payments every day in all the pools that they're participating in. And as long as they do that, their referrals are going to be paying them. But in the case of inactivity, sometimes that payment ends up going to the guarantee. Okay, is what happens there. And so mostly what I've been seeing lately is that's been the only reason why payments are going to the guarantee, is that somehow the sponsor took longer than 28 hours to make their payment and therefore became inactive. And then in that window between the 28-hour mark and when the referral made their payment, before the sponsor made their next payment, the payment goes, went to the guarantee. So yeah, even though you're not technically qualified for a refund, I have been refunding. Okay. Because technically, based on the policy of that deal, you're not entitled to the payment. So, but that's going to change because we want to be a system that we collaborate together, and we try to create we want the offer to be as sweet as possible. So that being the case, that's why I've chosen to refund, even though it's not the policy to do so. I've chosen to refund, and I'm hoping that when the change comes to play, when the sponsor's inactive, then the payment's going to go to the next active sponsor above them. I hope that they'll also see it from that same light, that it's in everybody's interest to make the offer as sweet as possible, and just work with your team and refund it back to the right person, so that so that things can move smoothly. Keep it going, because everything's based on making a payment every day. And some people are making payments using tools. We call it the $111 tool. So a lot of people are making payments based on someone using a tool to make it possible for them to do that, because we know that 99% of our members, maybe a higher number than that, they don't have the ability to make a $111 payment out of their own pocket every day, right? But yet we got thousands upon thousands of people making a $111 payment every single day. Well, they're doing it because they're using a tool and some of the principles we talked about in previous trainings. And so it makes it work, makes it possible, and it makes our offers really sweet, that you can access something that you couldn't necessarily afford in the first place, and have something accumulate for you on the wealth creation side that you normally wouldn't have access to, right? So that's what makes it very special. So I've talked a lot about pleasure, haven't I? Okay. So we have plenty of things to bring pleasure inside of pool funding. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
in addition to that, we also have a support system that you never have to go along and wonder if something's happening. or you got a question that you need answered, you never have to go long, do you, to get those things resolved. So you can, with the support structure that we've established and will maintain forever, that also, fits onto the pleasure side of the equation. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah,
Yes.
very much so.
Excellent support.
So I think
Yes.
that would makes I think that makes pool funding very, very special. Okay, but on the other hand, some people, I don't know, put a group of people together. You're always going to end up with psychopath, narcissistic personality somewhere in there, right? you know, you're going to end up with people who've kind of fall into the category of being extremely selfish people who, they can't see past themselves and their own mirror, and they don't realize that their small world that they occupy is part of a larger world where we all, dwell with one another, and that their actions actually do have an impact in that larger world. I don't know why some people can't see that, but some people just simply can't see that for some reason because they're so small-minded. Let's see here. It's not really even ignorance. I think some of these people, they knowingly know what they're doing is hurting the group, and yet they'll do it anyway, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we have an example on
Yep.
on the chart recently. I'll show you the actions of one person here. Okay, on the chart. This happened-
Devastating.
Full selfishness.
This happened a couple of days ago. So let's see here. Where was it? There it is. Okay. If you take a look right here, more or less from about here all the way down to here, that was just one person selling and selling and selling and selling. And we, they tried to be clever, moving coins from this wallet to that wallet to that wallet, but we traced it all the way back to the source wallet that received distributed coins, and they were using distributed coins in order to, so they're taking a gift, and they use that gift against the community that gave the gift to them, right? Yeah. I think all of us are thinking really ugly names about this person right now, So
Yeah, they don't care.
yeah.
They'll do it and they don't care. Yeah.
Well, this
It's selfish.
person did get identified. Their account has been suspended, and they are also untrusted, right? And so, will this person ever be able to be trusted again? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. Because unless we click that button to trust them again, they will remain untrusted, right? And so, yeah. So what has this person done? Okay, they collected in that course about $2,000. So they had a short-term gain. They received about $2,000, but what they did is they eliminated their ability to receive $3,000 monthly, ongoing of coins that are appreciating in value, not just 10 times in value, but probably 100 times in value. So they're not just walking away from $3,000. They're not just walking away from 10 times that value, which would be $30,000. No, they're walking away from $300,000 of value, given that they, where these coins are going, up to. They're walking away from $300,000 a month in value because they, for some reason, thought that 2,000 meant something to them to get it now. Okay. Wow. So maybe they don't realize the extent of how much they have hurt themselves, but I do kind of pity the person when you look at it in that light, how they've hurt themselves. That'd be like someone saying, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and break an arm. And then they break one arm. No, I'm going to break my other arm. And then they go ahead and break the other leg and break their other leg. Now they got two broken arms and two broken legs. They can do absolutely nothing at this point. They did it to themselves, And why? Why would they do that? So because they thought they could get away with it? No. No. Now, are we distributing any coins right now? No, we have not distributed coins for most of the month of May, and we haven't started yet either. Just because we've done some verifying doesn't mean we've started distribution yet, because the programmer and I are going to sweep through all the cases of each one of our executives, and we're going to look over what they have chosen to trust, and kind of puts them in the hot spot, by the way, because why did they trust this person? Why did they trust that person? So if anybody comes into question, we look at their stuff as we audit them, then we're gonna be like, okay, they didn't do a good enough job, So I'm just telling you this, the programmer and I are going to go through and make sure that we can trust the people that the executive team has chosen to trust. Okay, so that's the next layer to this. Because until we're all, feeling good about the people who we're going to distribute coins to, we're not going to trust anybody at this point. So we are going to move it, so next week we will start some distribution of coins next week, but we have just started the process of verifying accounts that can be trusted. Okay. So what about before we turned off the spigot, before we turned off distribution? Okay. What about before? Let's take a look here. Share my screen. The best gauge I can say would be the $100 pool. And that would be this right here, the PFS token, pool funding silver. Okay. Currently at a value of about 22,000 almost. Okay. It did dip down there all the way about $8,000, thanks to our, our friend who doesn't know how to, do math apparently. And so let's see here. We have holders. How many holders do we have? Yes, I am human. All right. According to this, we have 365 holders. Okay. If we go to the last page, I'll show you a bunch that are not real people. That's a contract. That's a contract. That's a contract. These aren't people. If they're contracts, they're not people. Make sense, guys? Plus, look at the amount.
Yes.
Look at the amount of coin here. 0.0, then 17 zeros and a 1. Okay. Well, that's empty. So like the what was that? So that's 17 people that really don't count, right? Out of the 365. Okay. You go to the next page, and we'll see even more of that. Okay. So here's another. That's 350, that's 340, so that's another 10. So that's 27 people that are not real people, right? Those are bots, And then you get up here, you get a little tiny amount, but still looking at bots all the way to 332 right there. And that bot's holding on a little bit, who knows, that might be $10 or something like that of a PFS coin, something like that. With all those zeros in between. And then you look at the holders right above the bots, and they got dust. You know what I'm saying? They really do have just dust. Oh, there's a few more bots up here. You know what I'm saying? That just are holding a little bit more, a couple more bots. So listen, guys, we're able to process, our executive team, they can process about 100 people a day. And we only have technically about 300 people who are getting coin, okay, from the who are getting coin from distribution. Okay, that's it. And so it won't take long for us to talk to all of those people, right? And obviously those are the people that probably want to get this thing started up again anyway. Okay. But guess what, guys? If someone comes up to us and they say, well, I'm currently not active, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, we'll take your picture, but we're not gonna put you as trusted right now. I hope you guys realize the logic there. Is that reasonable logic? You're not active, but you want access to our distribution of coins when we're trying to end all the selling of coins. Uh, you know, how in someone's logical mind can they sort that out where they'd say that's okay? Let the inactive people have access to their coin right now. No, it's actually safer for the community that we don't trust inactive people at this point. Would you guys agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to earn trust.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're getting a measure of trust to begin with, right? Just for signing up. But as soon as you violate it any way, shape, or form, you go down to no trust, right? And then you really do have to earn it back. Okay. So if we ever click that button, trusted, not trusted, it's very, very painful. Okay. I just want everyone to realize how painful it is for the person that we click that button, because we may never, ever, ever trust them again, and never, they might have a whole stack. They might have $30,000-$40,000 worth of PFS coins sitting in their, in holdings on their account that would have gone through to distribution had they not stopped it by becoming untrusted. Think about that, right? So I'm just telling you, just because, and we're not, we're not bleeding hearts in the sense that you just come and beg and we're going to turn your button on. The more you beg, the more we're not going to want to turn your button on. That's like a bad indication, that's like sending up red flags. Wouldn't you guys agree? Right?
Yes.
More something
Yes.
more
Yes.
somebody wants something that, we're being very careful how we shell it out. That just tells them we can't trust that person even more. Why are they begging? On one hand, they can't do the little thing of staying active, right? When we make it so dang easy, with all the stuff going on, it's so dang easy to be active in this thing right now. And it only takes one referral to basically cover yourself. Only one, to break even. So to me, people that want access to distributed coins that and they've done anything to violate the trust, yeah, they need to realize that they've created this pain for themselves. Okay, we didn't do it to them; they did it to themselves. Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now, just to put a further point on this, some of you are really concerned because of how ugly these guys made the charts. Now, it's not every single person. We don't have 300 people selling coins. Okay, for goodness sake, it's more like it's a small number of people. Okay, if I can't really total it up right now, but if I were to total it up, it'd be something like 20 people. Okay, it's a small number. Okay, but what they did is they had multiple accounts. Okay. Why are we taking your picture? Why are we doing that?
Verify.
Verify what?
That they only have one account.
Exactly. Thank you, Joe.
They're real.
Well, they need to be a living human being adult. Okay. That's who we want to distribute our giveaways to, and that's who we want participating in this. But it's the long-standing rule that there's one person, one account. Okay, basically since November of last year, that's been the case. Okay, one person, one account. And anybody who's been operating more than one account, we can actually see certain things. We can see certain things and see that that's not true, that they actually are using, more than one account and, themselves, right? Now, without giving away all of our tricks of the trade of how we can expose people, we obviously will start using a picture as an additional way to do that, right? Because then every time in the future when we set this up, you're gonna be verifying that you are a human, that's doing this. We're gonna take your picture, okay? So, you take a picture, pay now, take a picture, pay now, take a picture, pay now. That's going to be the 2-minute routine. That's what it's going to turn into. That way we have an original picture, and then we'll have, daily pictures of, who's actually clicking on the buttons. Okay. And you know, at some point we can throw all those pictures into like an AI and sort out duplicates. You know what I'm saying? So, but for now, just taking a picture is all we got to do. But the point that we're making here is we cannot tolerate people operating more than one account. It's just unfair to the rest of the members. We can all agree on that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
We don't sign up companies, corporations, entities. We only sign up living human beings, living men and women. Okay, that's all we sign up. Okay. We're not signing up trusts, and we're not signing up foundations, and you know, all these clever ideas. They do not apply to pool funding. We are a private group. We are not part of the, you know, legal system, if you want to call it that. You know what I'm saying? So we're not interested in your social security number. We're not interested in your government IDs. Okay. Well, that's not something we're interested in at this point. You know, that might change in the future, you know, depending on how things go this way or that way. You know, the world around us is, you know, evolving. So we'll see where it goes. But for now, what we're concerned about is a living, breathing man or woman using our system. And we want to make sure that they get all the pleasure that we have in store for them, while making sure that they also understand, don't do anything that creates pain for themselves or for others. Okay. And by so doing, that should give the rest of us some peace of mind that we are going to get this to the point where, you know, we are going to hit our price targets. Okay. So I know that some of you are like scratching your head and wondering how I'm going to pull it off. How is this guy Ace going to pull this one off? You know, how's he going to do it? You're probably going, seems like he's got himself into a situation here. Can he get himself out of it? Well, of course I can. And I'm telling you all the secrets right now, how it's going to work. Okay. Pain and pleasure. I'm very familiar with this, guys. All right, I've read the books. I've studied all the success manuals. Okay. All right. I know the deal here. All right. So let me, I do want to share something, but I'm having a little bit of a brain fog. What did I want to show you next? Well, anyway, when it comes back to me, I'll spit it out. But I do want to, you know, go back to Telegram and show you that we launched an offer here. I'm going to tell you all about it. But here you go. This pool funding tracker software was created by one of our great leaders out of the UK. His name is Paul. Okay. So I'm going to give Paul a few minutes now to talk about what he's built, why he built it, and how you can get access to it for just a small fee payable to him. Okay. So go ahead, Paul. You can go ahead and unmute. Tell us all about what you've done here, and you know, tell us what your experience has been like using it, so on and so on. This is your chance to sell it good. Okay, do a good job on selling your own stuff. All right.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ez. Yeah, that's you know, open and transparent. It's just a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, I should say. But all in all, it took me, you know, say a couple of hours a day over the course of maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get it to the point where it's at now. To be so, you know, precise in how it calculates everything and tracks everything. I found I had to create it because I had 12 referrals, each of whom I was sending back some amount of money per day. It might have been 100, it might have been 110. And so that was getting really quite confusing. And of course, some people were self-funding and other people were relying on me to send them money so that they could send it back. That all became so so complicated that I really had to create something that would track all of that. So obviously you can see that that's what I've done. And yeah, if anybody would like a copy, it does take me a bit of time to customize it. And I'd need to kind of just chat with you. Well, there's not an awful lot of talking to do, really. I mean, actually, if you do want a copy, I can send you a copy, which is unique to you, and you can just enter in the little bits of information that you need to enter, just the person's name and so on, your referral's name. And that's all it requires, and it's all set up and ready to go at that stage. So yeah, it takes a little bit of customization. It took me quite a bit of time to put it together. But without it, I couldn't run the team that I run. So, if you've got aspirations to get to, 4, 5, 6 referrals, at that point, you're going to find it very difficult to track. I know I did. So that's why I came up with this solution, if you like. So yeah, I thought I didn't want to make it available without asking Ace, of course, and he's very kindly said that he thinks it's very good and that I can put it out into the community. So if anyone would like a copy, you can just send me a message through Telegram or even on Facebook. I use Facebook more than Telegram, but of course I'm on both. So yeah, if you'd like a copy. $10 is all it's going to cost, and it's yours.
Not $1,000? Oh my God, really? Only $10? Not 1,000? Okay. What a deal, guys. Well,
Thank you.
I'll line up your first customer here. I think Raquel Pulsifer probably should invest $10 in getting the software. She's growing so fast and she's so new. I think it really help her out. What do you think?
Well,
Raquel?
to be honest, yeah, I mean, I've been kind to my team, of course, because I want to help them build. So 2 or 3 members of my team do have copies. I've supplied it to
I was
them.
gonna say I finally used it today
Yeah.
and filled it all out because I'm up to 7 referrals, so it works great.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
amazing.
there you go.
Congratulations,
Oh, you got
Michelle.
a
and
testimonial then. Okay, I thought I brought you a customer, but instead we got a testimonial instead. Okay,
You're
even
on
better.
fire. Yeah, she's on fire. That's fantastic. Well done.
Yeah,
Raquel.
we're really excited about Raquel, and the people that she's bringing in are, also very, a much, birds of a feather flock together, guys. What can I say? People have no problem getting lots of people to join, right when they join, they can, they're the same kind of people. Okay. So I expect that particular team to just explode. I wouldn't be surprised if that team ends up being half of what we're doing in a month or two from now. Because it's already exploding. 10 who get 10 who get 10. All of a sudden, it turns into a pretty big team pretty fast. Okay. All right, so I did remember what I wanted to share. So take advantage of Paul's offer. Reach out to him directly on. Go ahead and Paul and put up go to the Wall of Joy and put your little if you want the software, contact me. Here.
Yeah,
Use
thank
the
you.
Wall of Joy to promote that for now. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, and you can do multiple promotions. You can put it up there every day for a while if you want, just to let people know that it's an ongoing offer. Okay, so let me share
Thank
my
you so much.
screen. I want to do some calculations with you guys. I want to show you how small things are, okay, when it comes to our concern about things. So we take a look at our price here for like PFS, okay? So right now we're at $20,000, right? Okay, yeah, we're at 20,340. So we'll just say 20,340. And if we go to our well group here, okay, if we go to the first page, these are our wells. And the very bottom of here, someone bumped out to 16.9. Now someone is 17.2 here. Okay, so 16.9 got bumped out. Okay, now it's 17.2. So if we take 20,340, right, that's what it was. 20,340. And just do a calculator to it. Okay. 20,340. So obviously, if you're a well, you'd be kind of a big idiot to sell anything as a well, right? Can we agree on that? Oh my God, what a big mistake.
Yes.
Right? You're already a well and you're selling? Oh my God. So 20,340. Okay. And we times that by, we'll just take the 50th person, 17.2. Okay. 0.172. So I don't know, would it be worth trading $100 million for $3,498 today to get your $3,498 today? You're going to give up your $100 million, over the next 20 years? Would that make sense?
No.
That don't make sense.
And
No.
it wouldn't even be anywhere near that much because of price impact. So
Exactly.
maybe getting,
There's a
yeah.
reason for this. You're making a great point, Hunter. I'm sorry for talking over you. There's a reason why this wasn't just one giant sell. They kept selling and selling and selling because pool funding was restricting them and giving them even less and less. So what Hunter is saying is that while you might expect to be able to pull out $3,500, you might be lucky if you get $2,000 for that. You know what I'm saying? Right? Might be lucky to get 1,000, something like that, right? So that kind of thing. Good point there, Hunter. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to the next page. Now, if you're in the top 100, you got yourself a decent shot of working your way up into the well spot. Am I right? If you're number 100, you're only 50 away from being a well. So again, why would you take the risk of not becoming a well, right? By selling if you're in the top 100. Let's just take a look here. We're using the extreme case here, by the way, okay? Because PFS is by far more people are percent-wise holding on to PFS than they are the other coins, okay? So if we take the same 20,340, the 20,340 price, and we times it by 100 here, holder 100, they've got 0.112, right? So 0.112. Again, 2,278. So anybody here, they're basically throwing away their best shot ever at becoming a well and pool funding silver. Okay. If they were to go to sell while they're in the top 100, it doesn't make sense for someone in the top 100 to sell. That's because they're so close to becoming a well. You see my point here, guys? Like, look at this.
Absolutely.
Like, look at this guy here. This is the guy that dropped down. He was number 50. Now he's number 51, right? The guy that overtook him, he was obviously below him here before, right? But now he overtook him. It went from 16 to 17. So basically a 1% difference, right? So just looking at the price, if we go 20,340, okay, times 1% difference, 0.01. Yeah, for only $200, this guy bumped out number 50 and took a spot from him. You see my point here, guys? Okay, right?
Game on.
Right. So everybody's got a good shot at becoming a well. If you're in the top 100 of any one of these, you got a shot at becoming a 100 millionaire, right? With becoming a well. Okay. So there you go. So you can see here, we got 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 6 all the way down here, bunch of 16s, and then it turns into 15. That's 2%. Okay, $400. Okay. 15, 15, 15, 14. Okay, let me see here. Maybe that'd be $600 for the guy who's at 14, right? And so on, guys, down to 11. So for a very small amount, they could end up becoming a well in pool funding silver. So let's go to the next page. Okay, let's go to 150. What do these guys got? Okay, now that these guys would have to stretch to become a well. Okay. This guy here has got 1% of a coin, 1.5%. So if we go 20,340 times 0. Let's just say 15%. To become a well, this guy's probably going to have to cough up, 3,000 or more. Okay, 3,000 or more dollars in order to move themselves up in this position at 150 up into the well spot. That makes sense, guys? Okay. But then we look at if they sold the coin, what are they going to get? So we got 20,000 340. And we times that by 0.015. Could you imagine someone becoming untrusted and maybe never being able to get distributed coins again? They're really risking it. Never, they're walking away from $3,000 a month giveaway, right? Even if they don't have a referral, they're only one referral away from 3,000. You see my point? So even if they have no referral, would it make sense for them to sell their coin and get maybe $300 for it? You know what I'm saying? And then basically run their shot at being trusted in the community, and their chance to be getting $3,000, which is not really $3,000 a month because it's appreciating coin. It's more like $300,000 a month. $300,000 a month. They're selling their inheritance for a bowl of porridge for $305. Does that make any sense to any of you? Why someone would do that to themselves?
None at all.
Makes no
No.
sense.
No
Right?
sense.
And I'm
We'll
using
get
the
the
word.
porridge. Hold out the prime rib.
Yeah, right. But we're talking about an inheritance of $300,000 monthly. There's more than 1 month in a year, right? Okay. $300,000 monthly because the coins are appreciating. What's the real value of these coins? It's hard to say because we don't really know what ultimately the value is going to be by the time they actually do sell the coin at some point in the future, which might be years from now. Okay. And at that point, they may not want to sell because they'll be given opportunities that they can work with private lenders or banks, perhaps, that will give them loans against you using the coins as collateral. Okay. So again, pool funding coins are not something to trifle with. They are valuable, really valuable when you see the vision of what we're doing here. Okay. Paul, you got your hand up. You want to make a point about this?
Yeah, I mean, what excites me about it is that once we've identified the people who can't be trusted, what's left is a massive community of people who can trust each other.
Exactly, Nick. That's a good way of putting it. Love how you're bringing that to light. Let's look at PFI now. Okay, same situation here. Okay, so if we look at the price of PFI currently, it's at the bargain value of. I don't know why more of you are not buying it at this like low price. Like, how crazy are some of you not to be buying right now? But anyway, $1,416. So let me put that in the calculator. $1,416. I'm surprised you're not buying it up, seeing it that low. $1,416. I mean, how much easier would it be to come a well here, with that being the opening price, right? So times that by number 50 on the list. They're holding on to, that can't be right. Is that right? 12%. PFI. Yep. Okay. They're holding on to 12.6%. So 0.12. It's actually more like 7. 6.8, rounded off. Oh, right, guys? Okay.
Mhm.
$180 and you could be a freaking well, for only $180. Like, you don't have to be a well and just one of the coins makes you a well. At least become a well in one of the coins. Okay. That's crazy. Why would someone, risk their entire inheritance with pool funding by becoming untrusted, to collect $180 today? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Go to the next page here. 100. What do they got here? That's 4. Yeah, that's basically 5%. Okay. So we'll clear that. So what was it? It was, what was the value again? 13 or 14? 14,336. 1436. 1,436 times 0.05. Okay, so the ammunition this person has at number 100 is, you know, they've got basically $72 that they could pull out of the coin. Okay. And they'd ruin their reputation over that and not be trusted in the community. And, you know, whatever they had stocked up in their account page saying that they're holding onto coin, you know, yeah, they're going to keep on holding it. They're not going to be able to that won't be distributed, right? So they're really selling off their inheritance here. It's crazy. Doesn't make sense to want to sell for that cheap, right? And if we go into the other coin, let's just look at PFB, for example. Okay. PFS, PFI, stretch it out here. PFB. There it is, 18,297. Okay. Yeah, 18,298, basically. 18,298. So put that in here, 18,298.
Leave this meeting because I don't want to be late, too late.
18,298 times that by PFB. So this is a bronze coin, okay? If you're number 50, you got 2%, 2.1% of a coin there. So times 0.021. $384, guys. You know, for anybody, you know, or you know, if anybody sells, you know, they're running their spot as being a well, right? And they're not getting that much money now, and that's a far cry from $3,000 a month. So people, they you know what we need to educate every single member is that regardless if you have one referral or not, yet you don't want to risk $3,000 monthly because at some point you will have one referral, right? Even if you don't have one now, right? At some point you will, and you're throwing away $3,000 a month, which that 3,000 is probably going to be more like $300,000. Okay. Why would you sell? You the pain is self-induced. Okay, self-induced pain. So we'll go here. 18,298 again. 18,298 times 1.6. So you see, guys, how much ammunition do they really have? You know, you know, if even if 50 of these guys with that much money sold, so what? We would just bounce back even faster, and people that are hungry to become wells, they'll just eat it up. Okay. There's only going to be so many that fall into that category of being psychopathic, narcissistic personality types who are going to want to hurt themselves and others because that's just their nature, right? Try to tell a scorpion not to be a scorpion, you know, come on. Yeah, so that's just how it goes. Yeah. Anytime you group people together, you're gonna have some people like that. Okay. What about pool funding gold? Okay, we got PFG. It's currently at 371,000. And again, one person took it down from like 900,000 down to 180,000. And since then we bounced back up to 370,000. Okay. But if we look at let's just take the calculator here again. So we go 371,581. So 371,581 times 0.0, and we don't know, do we? So let's take a look what 50 is here. That PFG, yeah. So refresh. So how many people are holding PFG? Well, there's only 231 holders. Okay. And if somehow you're in the top 50 and we don't know who you are, you're not a whale. Okay. So just because you're in the top 50 doesn't automatically make you a whale. You're only a whale if we know who you are. You can't be an unknown whale. Okay. We're not going to give you $100 million of perks, benefits, and rewards when we don't even know who you are. Okay. And yes, there are some wallets here that we don't know who they are. You know, okay, fine. You got our coin, but you're missing out on $100 million, right? But anyway, this guy here, 0.000055, right? Let's just punch that in the calculator. Okay. So times, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Back that up. So I need 2 more zeros and a 55. 55. Okay, $204. Someone could bump out this well for $204, guys. You could be in the gold coin. There's only 10,000 of these gold coins, guy. 10,000. That's it. There's 10 million of the PFI coins. There's only 10,000 PFG coins. Scarcity does make things more valuable. Okay. So there you go. And think about ammunition. These guys aren't armed with much ammunition. You know, they can't tear the price down too much from where it's at, you know? No, they can't. No, they can't. And then we go to the next page. And we got what we got here. Did it jump out? I don't know what happened there. I clicked on something accidentally. Back button. Okay. 100. There we go. Is it pull funding? PFG. Okay. So 0001. Okay. So people in the top 100, they from 100 to 51, those people have a shot at becoming a whale quite easily. You know what I'm saying? So this was 371,581. So 371,581. 371,581 times 0.0001. Now we'll throw a 7 on it too. Okay. $63, right? Would you throw your entire inheritance away for $63? Come on, how silly would that be, right? Doesn't make sense. So what you need to know is that there's a plan here, okay? And it's right here. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. 3 stages of market price development. Step number 1, we haven't done it yet. Okay. I wish we had done it already, but we haven't done it yet. Hit our price targets. We got 500,000 for PFI, 1 million for PFB, 2 million for PFS, and 4 million for PFG. We need to hit all those price targets, guys. That's step number 1 here. Step number 2, create price stability while keeping the price above price floors. Okay. Probably the number 1 key is that we get everybody in the habit of buying $1 of a coin every day. Okay. Just throw it into your 2-minute routine. I've already been doing it now for over a week. And you guys should follow my example. Okay. Every day, buy $1 of our coin. That actually, when you got thousands and thousands of people buy, like let's say for every seller, there's 1,000 people buying, even only $1. Even let's say the seller sold, $500, and 1,000 people all came in and bought $1. Believe it or not, the algorithm's going to favor the fact that there's more buyers than sellers. The software is going to gravitate that direction. Do you guys understand that? Even though it was only $1, right? Okay. And for goodness sake, we're giving you $3,000 a month. Can't you just pay a small bit back? You know what I'm saying? Just a small bit, only $30, right? A back. Can't you do that? I shouldn't have to mandate that. Do I have to mandate it and say, now you're compelled to do this, right? Do we need to do it that way, or can we just have the gratitude in our hearts and do it out of gratitude, right? I really hope I can count on your gratitude, okay? Because it's going to take people buying the coin consistently every day, at least one of the four, right? Every single day, just a little bit, $1, right? And if you see a great opportunity to buy more, like if you see a big dip, then buy more that day. You know what I'm saying? To take advantage of the dip. But the consistency of buying $1 every day is what will create that price stability when we get to the higher price targets. Okay. And then also about the stability, if you have no sellers, right, or very few, and you think about it, people shouldn't be selling their coin for at least a year. They should be in the accumulation mode because they want to maximize their co-founder bonus. Again, on the pleasure side of things, the co-founder bonus, you get 10 times more coin. You wouldn't want to sell anything while you're accumulating towards that bonus, okay? And that means that a person joins, and we should be like, that person's not going to sell any coin for at least a year, right? We don't have to worry about that new person for a year, right? Again, all that helps to create price stability, okay? And then we are going to have our own little marketplace, which if I didn't have these interruptions, this would be already done, okay? Yeah, we have a little marketplace, and you'd be using our coins to buy products and services for using our coins to pay for it, okay? So there you go. Was it a good education today?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys
Absolutely.
realize how
Yeah.
small the power is of the sellers and how much self-induced pain they're putting themselves through, right? So we should actually pity them. I pity the fool, you know. And so we should pity these people for the idiocy of what they're doing to themselves, let alone how it does impact the morale of our community. But it's short-lived and temporary. We bounce back, and people who are hungry to become whales, wow, one of the best opportunities ever is right now. Jump in there and start buying up coin to get yourself positioned in as a well, because ultimately, at some point I will expire, and it's going to be the wells that are going to keep this thing going after I'm not here. Fair enough, guys?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Understood.
More than fair.
So the attorneys will be in touch with the wells and say, hopefully that won't happen for another 50 years, by the way, but all the same, we're all concerned about it. I know we are.
Yeah, no, we hope so too. We want you to stick around a long time.
And so we want the wells to realize that with great power comes great responsibility. $100 million is a lot, but also the responsibility is a lot. And we want you to realize that even the smallest among us might say, well, I'm not sure if I'm really cut out to be a well, if I'm that kind of person. The fact that you're thinking that way makes me want you to be a well even more, because you're coming from a better place in my mind, in the sense that your humility on it all makes me trust you more. You know what I'm saying? And I'd rather have someone that you can be trusted versus someone who's either really eloquent or someone who's really, brilliant in some way or fashion, or some obviously brilliant somehow. We don't need our wells to be brilliant. They don't have to be some man judgment version of someone important. You know what I'm saying? The qualities that we're looking for more than anything else is a heart. Okay. If you have the right heart, that's what matters to me. Okay. And I want the people that have got a heart holding these positions, that they actually do care, not just about themselves, but they actually care about mankind. And they realize that, pool funding is a project for mankind, or, for humanity. Okay. Because, we could say womankind too, mankind and womankind both. Okay. And anything in between. But, so it's for all of us. And we want to spread it out there. And we want, to me, like, to look at Facebook, whether it was meant for mankind or not, it's certainly been embraced by mankind. Wouldn't you guys agree? Humanity has embraced pool funding, not pool funding, but Facebook as something that is useful. Look at how many people signed up for it, right? And I was one of the people that held out. I held out a long time. I heard about Facebook for years before I joined it, because that, I'm so introverted and all that. So, but yeah,
I'm still holding out.
yeah, you're a bigger introvert than me then. Okay. So, but yeah, so, but pool funding is, it's for humanity. It's for humanity. And we want to get this $3,000 a month offer in front of as many people as we can, because I think it's a better offer than what they're going to get otherwise. Okay. Because I know the otherwise is coming. Okay. And I've talked about that before. So we don't have a lot of time to get our message out there. We have huge incentives. We have huge rewards. We have, every reason, the pleasure side is loaded up, man. It's loaded. Okay. Open your eyes and see the pleasure side of pool funding. It is huge. Okay. And then the pain side, it's enough. Okay. Fair enough. You guys agree? Right?
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't care how ugly the charts are. It's an illusion. It's not as bad as it looks. Okay. All right. It's actually much better than you think it is. And it's just a great opportunity right now for people to grab the, well positions while they last. And may the best of you with the brightest and most beautiful hearts, grab those spots that are, available. Because by the time September rolls around, I don't think we're going to be searching for wells anymore. I think we're going to know who all of them are. Okay. And I don't think we're going to end up with 103, probably end up with something like 70 of you. Because it makes sense to be a well in all the coin, not just one of the coin. But I know some of you won't get into all the coin, and that'll be fine. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. All right, guys. So thank you all for coming. And again, another shout out to Paul Thompson and the software he developed. I think that's going to be very, very useful. So he's got my permission to promote the hell out of it on our wall of joy, spread it around, because all of you that got even like 3 people to keep track of, you've got enough people that you probably want something like that to help you keep track of it. Because, especially when you're dealing with $100 bills, did the 100 go here? Did it go there? Where did it go? So when you're trying to figure out where things are, it's always good to know and you keep track of that. So, and also guys, if you haven't learned how to use the blockchain, if you don't know how to go into BCS scan and navigate that and look at the information there, come on guys. Now's the time to learn how to use, the blockchain and read it. Okay. Become a little bit more educated. Hold yourself to the standard of being educated on what we're doing here, because it is blockchain related 100%, 100%. That's it, guys. Let me just come up with something clever today. A
trustworthy community.
Yeah. So how about we just say trust matters, right? Okay. We can all unmute and say trust matters. Okay.
Trust matters.
Trust
Trust matters.
Trust matters.
Trust matters.
Okay. Thanks for the help there. All right, guys. I'll go ahead and end the recording now. Bye-bye.